If you are just tuning in, extraordinary breaking news in the last half hour or so. Thames Valley Police officers arrived at the Sandringham Estate in Norfolk, where Andrew, Mountbatten-Windsor, formerly Prince Andrew, has now made his home. They've been searching that property in Norfolk, also property in Berkshire, and they've issued a statement. They have arrested a man in his 60s from Norfolk on suspicion of misconduct in public office, and the man remains in police custody at this time. They say we will not be naming the arrested man as per national guidance. They point out this case is now active, so we should take care not to basically be in breach of contempt of court and in any way damage any possible proceedings if they do go ahead. But it is very clear that it is Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor who, on his 66th birthday today, has been arrested and taken into custody by Thames Valley Police on those allegations, particularly those involved in the Epstein files, which were about the allegations of misconduct in public office coming from, which were all about if these files are true, and remember that Andrew has, on behalf of, spokespeople on his behalf, has denied any wrongdoing, that information that was given to Andrew purely as a UK trade envoy, confidential information that could be very useful outside the government, that information was given to him in these Epstein files, and it does appear sometimes within minutes or hours sent over to Jeffrey Epstein, at that point a convicted paedophile, his friend, financier, which would be a misconduct in public office. Well, Henry Hill joins us now as Deputy Editor of Conservative Home. We know this is an ongoing story, Henry, and I think a lot of people, including me, have been rather angry at the fact that the police seem to be taking their sodding time investigating what are very serious allegations against such senior figures as, the brother of the king, the son of the late Queen. But action now has been taken. We need to stress he's not been charged with a crime. We need to stress he said he's not guilty of any wrongdoing. But this is an extraordinary development.
Oh no, absolutely. And I think this really highlights how difficult it can be for the police in a high-profile case like this, because, there's lots of police forces involved here. It's not one monolithic national. There's at least 9 forces, I think, involved in looking at.
Is it 9 forces?
I think there are 9 different
7
forces.
at the last. No, you're right. I think it is 9.
I think it is 9. Looking at this, so I wonder which one it is that's made the first move. But then, on the other hand, you see them. I think it's his birthday today, isn't it? When they've decided to swoop in, and as interesting as that is as a journalist, I think there is a little bit of me as a citizen that thinks, well, this is the police making sort of an obvious bit of a PR move here, I think, on the timing, which is slightly sobering. But I think, as you say, this is a live investigation, and so we're limited in how much we can really speculate about it. But when you think about how long this story has been rolling on, any hope that it would fizzle or fade away is now obviously completely for the bird.
Well, indeed. And I think that a lot of people may be interested, and again, there are different allegations that are being investigated by different police forces. And again, Andrew's denied wrongdoing in all cases. However, the fact that it was, many years ago when Virginia Giuffre first made the allegation that she had been trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein to have sex with Andrew, he denied having ever met her, and then bizarrely paid £12 million to her and for legal fees, mostly funded by the late Queen and by the current King, his brother, just a few years ago, to settle a civil case. But at no point it emerged had the police ever even bothered to question Andrew. Now, given what the police do spend their time bothering with, apparently not, people being burgled or mobile phones stolen or the like, but they seem to bother certainly with the odd hurty tweet here and there, a lot of us find it extraordinary that someone who had faced such a serious allegation, although of course she was a minor in some jurisdictions in Florida as a 17-year-old, Virginia Giuffre was not a minor in this country, but given the seriousness of the allegations involving Andrew, and given that this is a man who was surrounded at all times by close protection officers who could verify where he was or where he wasn't at any time, or was he in a Pizza Express in Woking, or was he in a nightclub dancing with a woman who claims he's never met, that would have been so much more easy to verify than most of us who'd be racking our brains about where we were on any given evening or checking old diaries. There are formal records. A lot of us, I think, found it a bit bizarre that it took so long. And interestingly, of course, the arrest in this case is over the allegations contained in the Epstein files involving giving away, the allegation is giving away basically government confidential information, not the possible abuse of trafficked young women.
Yeah, that is an important thing to stress.
Which perhaps most of us might care more about.
Well, it also, but it does mean, if you're interested in sort of the minutiae of this, that I think misconduct in public office is one of those very strange common law offences, which means it actually has no maximum sentence.
Yeah, it would be life.
So yeah, you could theoretically send him. But
it does involve deliberately believing that this would benefit someone else. There's quite a high threshold.
Yes, but it's entirely judge made because we've never put it in statute. But I think you're right. I think that it is important to stress that these are completely different allegations, and I suspect one of the reasons that they've been taken forward. Obviously, the British police do not have an amazing track record of taking allegations of sexual abuse seriously. Yep. But if we are to put the case for the police a little bit who aren't here we have a massive documentary tranche of evidence about something, whereas with the Virginia Giuffre stuff, one, she did accept a civil suit which involved non-admission of guilt, right? She didn't have to do that.
Which is the normal reason why.
But also, if you look at if you were a police officer and you had to go only on the contents of that book, several other of those stories have fallen to pieces under scrutiny. There is evidence that the book was previously being shopped around in a slightly different form, and so you can see why you might not want to have a system where a series of potentially sensationalist allegations are not sufficient grounds for raking an individual through public life. Now, of course, it's not just the Giuffre stuff, because the Epstein network has been known about for some time, and I think that we should definitely have seen action before this. Nonetheless, better late than never.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people will be saying that. Again, we'll keep you up to date on the developments on this. But look, there are